All right. Good morning. Okay. Thanks for being here, everyone. Let's begin. We'll tuck our thumbs into our fingers, rest our hand on our thighs or our hands on our thighs. Or if you're standing, you can just let your arms hang by your sides, but maybe tucking the thumbs into the fingers, just allowing the chi to build up in our hands, generating some warmth, some heat. And just taking a few moments, attuning to your body and the alignment of your body. And breathing deep in the body, through the body. And allowing the sensations of our body and alignment and the movement of our breath to be the focus of our minds. And not only the focus being the body and the breath, but there's also that expansive space around whatever we're focusing on. So that too. And as you're ready, we can bring our hands together and generate some more heat and warmth in our palms. And then a nice deep breath in, shaking out the hands, relaxing. Rubbing the palms together again, breathing. And then we can bring our hands to our faces and give ourselves a little face massage. And from here, you can just move your hands right over your scalp. Your fingertips can go back and forth or front to back or any other kind of way that feels good. Finding a way that feels good to massage your scalp and the whole surface area of the scalp, and spending extra time anywhere that feels like it could use it or is asking for it. I mentioned this, sometimes referred to as Einstein's hairbrush. I've also heard it called 10 dragons running through a forest. And as you're ready, your hands can slide down the back of your neck, bringing them around to the front, and then we can all take a nice deep breath in together and shake it out. Rubbing the palms together, breathing deeply into the body. And then cupping our hands over our eyes, gentle pressure to the eye sockets, just taking a few moments to turn the light around. Direct your awareness inward. And again, as you're ready, nice deep breath in. Shake it out. Rubbing the palms together and breathing. And then taking the base of the left hand in between the eyebrows and just drawing the hand across the forehead and off to the side. Same thing with the right hand. The point in between the eyebrows, yin tong, the chamber of the seal of the authentic self. And as we move across the forehead, we're also checking in with or stimulating other acupuncture points, one of them above each eyebrow, clear yang, clear seeing. Just what does it mean to see clearly with our authentic self? What's the authentic self? Who's seeing? What's being seen? If it's clear yang, if everything is just pure light, is there anything that's not pure light? But beyond all of that, just how does this feel? Does it feel good? If not, can you find a way of doing it that does feel good? And if it feels good, how does that feel? How does it feel to feel good? Good? And whenever you're ready, you can take another deep breath in and shake it out. Rub the palms together and breathe. And then taking the edge of our thumbs to the edge of the nose and massaging up and down, breathing through the nose, opening up the sinuses. And again, deep breath in and out. Freshen up the palms, the chi, the warmth, the heat, the energy. And then we'll take the tips of our thumbs to either side of the mouth, one hand below, one hand above, and massage back and forth. Stimulating your lips and your gums. This movement often generates a lot of saliva in the mouth, so you can let that build up before you swallow it down. The Chinese character for saliva translates as living water. Living water. All of these digestive enzymes and healthy bacteria in our mouths, in our saliva, it's alive. We're alive. The ornamental hedges along the side of a sidewalk that we never seem to notice are alive. Deep breath in and out. It's not like we never notice, but sometimes we just don't notice or maybe acknowledge that they are living things. Ornamental hedges, grass. And then we can take our palms and make forward circles over our ears. And another deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together, attuning to the alignment of the body, breathing deep into and through the body. Focused attention and boundless awareness. And let's do our self-shoulder massage, beginning with the left arm up to the right shoulder, alternating side to side. Taking your time, there's no hurry. Bringing intention and attention to your hand as it swings up and lands on your shoulder. And intention and attention to your shoulder as your hand lands on it. What does bringing intention and attention to things do to those things, to the experience of those things? Mentioned before, quantum physics tells us that when we pay attention to light, it behaves differently. The observer has an effect on what is being observed. What is not pure light? Pure light. Let's do one more on each side. And then a deep breath in. And out. Rubbing the palms together and breathing deeply. Let's bring our right fingertips into a beak and find the bottom of the left collarbone and then slide out into the hollow space. And the left fingertips into a beak, find the bottom of the right rib cage and follow it down until you drop into a little notch or a hole, and then tap these two spots lightly. Feel free to make small circles as you're tapping, just to feel what this feels like, get the lay of the land. And And maybe in one or both of these spots, you might find a spot that stands out. And you can hang out over that particular spot. Breathe in to both of these places that you're tapping. Breathe into the space between these 2 points. Breathe into the backside of the rib cage, where these points would be if they extended through your body to the backside. Fill the whole rib cage with breath. Bridge the gap between these 2 points. The biggest gap between any 2 meridians on the body exists between these 2 points. In our chests, things can accumulate. Physical things, emotional things. So help what has accumulated to be felt, to be stirred, so that it can move and change. And as you're ready, you can switch to just massaging these 2 points. Continue to breathe and feel. And then we can switch sides. Left fingertips under the right collarbone, sliding out. Right fingertips to the bottom of the left rib cage, finding the notch. And then gently tapping both sides. Again, just continuing to notice sensation. Breathe into sensation. Bridging the gap. The lower point is the liver meridian, the wood element, springtime, the beginning and the arisal of things. The upper point is the lung meridian, the metal element, autumn, the completion of things. In between, we have the residence of the heart, the fire element, summertime, happening of things. All of those happening, the beginnings, the occurrence, the conclusions. So where is winter? The flowing of things, the everything of everything, the beginning and the end, the water element, the ocean, the alpha and the omega, all of the symbolism that we tend to associate with this time of year. And if you haven't already, feel free to transition to massaging these 2 points, and feeling, and breathing, the coming and going, the beginning and the endings, the constant happening within a bigger thing that is beyond happening and not happening. And then a nice deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together and bringing the hands down onto the lower ribs and massaging the lower ribs, the sides of the body, massaging onto the belly, Both hands can hang out over the belly, or one hand can come over the chest, while another hand remains over the belly, and those hands can switch positions over time if you'd like, or they could stay where they are. What's most important is you're noticing and feeling what this feels like. How does it feel? And as you're ready, your hands can move around your waist to the area of the lower back and the kidneys. And then we can draw our hands out, shake them out, rub the palms together, and breathe. To the arms, beginning with the left arm, a little tap, and then up the outside, down the inside. Going however slow or fast you would like. Maybe try different speeds just to see. How does it feel? To see how it feels, to feel how it feels. Up one more time and then down. Changing sides. Up the outside and down the inside. Up one more time and then down. Deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together. And then we can bring our feet out in front. And if you're standing and you want to remain standing as we're massaging our feet, you can feel free to massage your knees, or if you can squat down to your feet, you can do that, or, hips, thighs. Same thing if you're in a chair. Same thing if you're sitting on the ground. And getting to the feet is not something that feels good or accessible. You can modify. And if you're massaging the bottom of your feet, you can follow the funnel down to the deepest hollow on the bottom of the foot. If you're massaging your knees, maybe the deepest hollow on the back side of the knee, or even the deepest hollow in the center of your lower back, or the center of your glutes, of your hip bones. Find a deep hollow and allow your awareness to move in there. And as you're ready, your hands can come up the inside of the legs and around the hips and down the outside, going with the flow. And up one more time, and around and down and out. Nice deep breath in. Shake it out. Rubbing the palms together. One last time for now. Tucking the thumbs back into the fingers, hands resting on the thighs. And again, just attuning to your body, your alignment within gravity. Allowing the breath to move through the body. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. All right. Any questions about anything? Okay. Last week we talked about Bodhidharma and the story of Bodhidharma traveling to China, meeting the emperor, and the emperor wanting his mind to be put at ease, and Bodhidharma saying, "Bring me your mind and I'll put it at ease," and the emperor not being able to do that, and kind of having a aha moment. And, just to elaborate on that a little bit, it doesn't mean that the emperor doesn't have an empire to run with its challenges and logistics and things to have to deal with, because that's something. But, I think the point, or what the story is pointing to is like any of the thoughts and feelings and emotions that the emperor may have had about all of that stuff, that's what couldn't be brought forth. Because that stuff can change and shift from moment to moment. We can be presented with a situation to be like, oh, that's difficult. But then something happens and suddenly it's like, oh, it's not so difficult. So was it difficult or not difficult? And so again, it's not saying that there isn't stuff. It's just saying that how we think and feel about the stuff, that may not be what we always think it is. And so that's what I think the story again is talking about. And that's when Bodhidharma was saying, "Bring me your mind and I'll put it at ease." And the emperor couldn't do that because it's like, maybe bring me the budget plan and we might look at that. Sure, that's something that can be brought. But, how you feel about the budget plan or what you think is going to happen about that, that is where we can sometimes get caught up. Which, then also brings us to this time of year, which on Sunday will be the fourth phase of winter, winter solstice. And so, this idea of the solstice, of being this time of like the deep, dark kind of like nothing, and what that's like, and resting in that. It relates to the water element, and, like I think we've mentioned before, the Frank Zappa song, like the ocean is the ultimate solution. Or if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the solvent, as my chemistry teacher used to say. That idea that anything in water long enough is going to dissolve into nothing, or become absorbed into everything. But it's not a thing. And so, this idea that can be a great source of rest and renewal, that's kind of necessary. It actually reminds me, one of my favorite stories, there was a teacher who taught about the 5 elements of Chinese medicine by taking us out into the 5 elements. And we had this experiential relationship with the elements. And so we were on this long hike up and down, going on for quite a while. And eventually we got to a river, and, there was the water. And there was someone in our group, she was an older woman, Her name was Carol, and she was probably in her early 80s. And like by the end of this hike where we got to the river, like you could tell she was tired. You know, we were all tired, and she was particularly tired, hot, sweaty. And so we had the opportunity to go to a point in the river where there was, you know, nothing too rough, but it was some rapids, and we could jump in and we could go through the rapids. And, you know, water, as some of you know, and the kidneys, the emotion can be a little bit of fear, as well as balanced by wisdom. And so there's this idea of, yeah, jumping into a rapid, like that's a little scary. And how can we do that in a good way? Like use some wisdom so we're not going to put ourselves in danger, or even deciding not to do it because we're not there. And so Carol jumped in and she like floated down and then immediately got out and walked back up and then did it again, and probably did it like, you know, 6 or 7 times. And as this is going on, the teacher is talking about the water element and about how it's so refreshing and renewing, like taking a shower and how that feels and everything. And then as he's kind of in the thick of his lecture, he just says, "Hey everyone, look at Carol." And we looked, and it's like she was 5 years old. She was like totally fresh and renewed and happy and vibrant and just like, wow, like not looking like an 80-something-year-old woman who had just hiked several miles through the mountains. So again, this idea of not knowing, which can sometimes be very scary, but how much rest and renewal and, you know, just refreshing it can be to not need to know what's going to happen or how it's going to work out, or, you know, even seeing something and then making a judgment of like, oh, that's going to be that, you know, because again, light behaves differently depending on how we look at it. Or another way of saying, like, what the thinker thinks, the prover proves. And so if you think about something and be like, well, that's going to suck, like suddenly all of our mechanisms in our mind start working to prove that right. You know, filtering out what doesn't suck and focusing in on what does, so that we can be right, as opposed to like, you know, we could also say, well, that's going to be great, and then we'll do the same thing. And whether it's great or whether it sucks, is that what it really is? Like, we don't know, you know, it's how we're looking at it. And so, again, this time of darkness and stillness, allowing us to just kind of let all of that dissolve and not know. And that beautiful phrase, not knowing is most intimate. You know, when you don't know, it gives you an opportunity to really be curious and open and allow something to come towards you. You know, and to really be close. It's like even with our, you know, in relationship with our partners, when we know who they are and how they're going to be when that happens, it's like, that's not very intimate, you know, but if we don't know, we have an opportunity to maybe learn something, or maybe just be surprised, or maybe to just feel that closeness, that intimacy. And so this time of the winter solstice, of really, you know, relaxing into that, and again, you know, counteracting the fear of not knowing and that kind of instability, and allowing that to also be absorbed into a biggerness that is like beyond stable and unstable. And just what is that like? You know, it's a great opportunity that we all have. All right, so there's that. So now we'll move on to our movement practice. So last week we did the 8 pieces of brocade. So continuing on with our numbers, I was wanting to do the 7 precious gestures today. And then because it's a nice winter solstice kind of form, and then like we did last week, we'll kind of move through some Qigong, and then we'll enter back into the Tai Chi as Qigong, or the Tai Qigong. Because it did seem like everyone was moving a lot easier and smoother after we did a bunch of Qigong. So, you know, so we'll do some Qigong, we'll do some Tai Chi Qigong, and then maybe back to some Qigong as well, depending on how much time we have. All right. Great. So let's get started. All right. Okay, so we're in a nice standing posture, and let's just take a moment. Just find a nice, easy stance, however wide or narrow narrow your feet would like to be. Maybe, inhale the shoulders up and back and down a couple times. Just relaxing into it. And if you'd like, take a moment, lift your toes up off the ground. Find the hard parts of the bottom of your feet, in particularly the outside edge of the foot and the heel. Let the knees be soft so you can settle into your heel bones without tipping backwards. And if you feel a little unsteady settling into your heels, think about pushing your feet apart. Like you're not actually moving your feet, but you're spreading the floor apart to find that outer edge of your feet, which is nice and stable. And then from there, soft knees, relax into your heels. And feel like that density of that heel bone just designed to bear your weight. And just let your weight root down into your heels. Which then you may feel like your calf muscles start to get a little turned on. Maybe even feeling your thigh muscles above your knees working a little bit, which then translates up into the lower back. It's like a back and forth, really stable design on our body. So just settling into that stability, that rootedness, which then actually facilitates a kind of rising upwards, like a pressing down into the earth, which allows us to rise and to lift. And as we rise and lift, just like a flower, we spread open in the chest, through the shoulders, out the arms. It's like this rising effulgence, just flowing out, overflowing, spilling out into the world, which then returns back down to the earth. And so again, feet on the ground, heel bones, outside edges of the feet especially. Soft knees, not locked knees. Breath moving into the backside of the rib cage, behind the heart, in between the shoulder blades. Just breathe deep, fill that area. Feel what it feels like to get a little spread into that area on the backside of the body, not the front side. And with that, then thinking about the back of the skull, the point on the back of the head, reaching back and up slightly, lengthening the back of the neck so that when you breathe deep behind the heart and the back side of the body, lift up and back through the back of the head so that it doesn't feel like you're rounding forward as you feel your breath. You're getting tall and wide. Again, still rooting down through the feet, lifting up and back through the back of the head, filling all that space between those two poles with your breath. If you'd like, you can also play with rotating your palms forward and maybe even out to the sides, spreading the shoulders wide and then letting the palms turn back. Just again, getting some rotation in the shoulders. Lubricating the hinges of the shoulder joint. And then you can let that go whenever you'd like. And then again, let's do some amplification and discharge with some shoulder rolls. So as we inhale the shoulders up, charge everything up, the shoulders move back, and then exhale, release. 2 more. Let it charge and let go. Maybe you come up off your heels a little bit on the inhalation. Big inhale. And then exhale, and you can start to wiggle and bounce a little bit, just shake, loosen up. Maybe some audible exhales, some sighs of relief. And then from here, we can just start to move right into this first precious gesture, ringing the temple bell, and maybe you're bouncing up and down in the knees still as you rotate side to side, which is fine, and maybe over time you just start to settle into the rotation. It can be helpful as the arms come around, you can bend your knees and then straighten, which helps the arms to fling a little bit or helps the bell to ring. But I would also invite you to bring a little bit of intention, so it's not total floppy arms. This front hand is landing on the front of the hip bone, and the back hand is landing right in the center of our butt, our butt cheek, our gluteus maximus. And just take some time to feel this. You can make the movements smaller if that helps, or bigger. And you don't have to go too fast. We ring bells to awaken. Like Thich Nhat Hanh likes to say, inviting the bell of mindfulness. Just noticing. And if you'd like, your hands can come up a little higher to the base of the ribs. Bottom of the rib cage, there's a nice little spot in the lower back where the back of the hand nestles, almost like it was made for that spot. And different areas of the body will feel different. Maybe different amounts of pressure are appropriate. And if you'd like, you can then bring the hands up to the shoulder joint. And your hand can land in between the neck and the shoulder on the meaty area of the trap muscle, or you can land right over the shoulder joint itself. Whichever one feels good. You can try them both. The back of the hand is framing the lower corner of the shoulder blade. Waking up the body, waking up the shoulder girdle, the pelvic girdle, gentle rotations in the spine, bringing awareness into our bodies. What do we feel like? What feels stiff? What feels loose? And if you'd like, your hands can move back down to the bottom of the ribs. And back down to the hips. As you're ready, you can just let that go and gently unwind, coming back to center, breathing. And then from here, let's take our hands and just inhale up to about our throats and down. 2 more times. One more. This time, as as you inhale up, I'll mirror you. We'll shift weight to the window leg and take a small step forward. And then the hands press down. We rock forward. Hands float up and come back. So we can exhale. Inhale. Exhaling and the back heel can come off the ground. Inhaling and the front toes can come up. So just with the out breath, letting it just carry out everything. Out with the old. Or out with everything, in with everything. But it's moving. And take your time. It's like a gentle rocking motion is always, or almost always, really soothing to the nervous system. So just letting yourself be rocked by your breath, rocked by the movement. And the hands don't have to come up too high. You know, if coming up really high feels too tiring, the hands can stay at chest level, even belly level. Let's do 2 more cycles. 1 and 2. Exhale your hands out in front, keep them low. Step back, inhale the hands up to your throat. And relax. 2 more like that. Slowing down. This time, as we inhale the hands up, shift the weight towards the mirrors, small step forward, and then exhale, rocking back on the inhale, and out. Back heel can come up. Inhaling, front toes can come up. Go slow. The animal associated with the winter is the turtle. Well, turtles are very, they can hang out underwater. They said they inhale in the autumn and exhale in the spring. Nice and steady and easy. And they go inwards to restore and rest and replenish. And they're amazing healers for their own bodies. Turtles that are injured have an amazing ability to regenerate. Just enjoying this motion, harmonizing movement and breath. Just clearing out, making space. One more time, we'll inhale, and then exhale down, As we inhale, step back, the hands float up and down. 2 more like that. Slowly. And just rest for a moment. So we rang the temple bell, which helped us to wake up. We just cleared out what tends to accumulate while we're sleeping. And we can continue with the clearing. And now, in honor of the solstice, we can honor and let go. So let's turn towards the mirrors. We can inhale, the hands up. And then exhale, bending forward just as much as is comfortable and picking up something as if it's precious, because it is, and then turn through the center, honoring it. And then let it go, releasing out. And then from this side, we'll gather. Inhale up. Breathe it through your heart. And then exhale, release. And again, inhale. Honoring. Exhale, release. So again, it's the winter solstice. A whole year has happened. And so, maybe these are the things that got accomplished. Like we had a plan, we worked on it, we did it, and now we can be done. Maybe we had a plan, and we worked on it, and it didn't work out, and we can let it go. Whatever it is, picking it up, being with it, and releasing. Just taking your time. There's an honoring, a reverence, and a humility, an appreciation, and a caring for that allows us to release, to trust. This is the year of the wood snake, and it's the end of the year of the wood snake. Snakes are about transformation, about shedding skins, about letting things go. And so again, just taking a few moments with this movement to maybe acknowledge a skin that you once wore that is ready to be shed so that something new can emerge. There can be a new way of being or thinking or feeling, and we don't have to know what that is. But we also know that what it's been isn't it, and so we can let that go. And it's not like, get out of here, but it's like, hey, thank you. Thanks for being my skin as I needed you as my skin, and now you can go be something else. And I can be something else. And things can continue to move and change and develop and grow. And it can be met with a sense of care and appreciation and love and reverence. And one more time on this side, we'll gather up, bring it through, let it go. And then on this side, we can gather, bring it to the center, and we'll stay facing forward and then let it go out in front. And then inhale and exhale, send the hips back and gather from the earth, and then we'll inhale up and exhale open, and inhale, gather from the sky. In and down, in and out, and in and out. Gathering heaven and earth, just remembering with all this clearing out and letting go, everything that we know of, everything we've ever had and ever let go of, and all of that has been provided for us by the heavens and the earth. It's all here all the time. Even if we can't see it or touch it, couple more. In, out, in, out, in. One more time. Down, in, and out. And one more time. Up. And then exhale. Let the hands just float down the front of the body. And the palms can come to rest facing up on either side of the hips. Now we can do the dance of the 10,000 things. So we'll take our window hand and send it out. And then we can sweep it out in front, like we're surveying all the 10,000 things. The palm can turn to face up, looking at the sky. The palm can face down and sweep down across, looking at the earth. And then we bring it back in, and as this hand comes in, the other hand can float out, and again, out in front. Up above, down below, and back in. And so just finding an easy rhythm with this, not going too fast, taking your time to look up and to sweep down. The hand comes in. So the 10,000 things are the Chinese way of saying everything. All of the heavens, all of the earth, all of the biofield in between. And we can dance with it. We can be with it. We don't need to grasp onto any of it. We can just be a part of it. We can bear witness, and by bearing witness, we can be. Being the 10,000 things. And not being the 10,000 things. Across and out, up above and down. Do one more on each side. The hands can come back to the hips. You can settle for a few breaths. Again, dancing with the 10,000 things, but not tangled up in them. Dancing with the busyness of the holidays. So now we're at the temple gate. We woke up with the bell, which caused us to say, hey, let me clear some things out, and let me also pay my respects. Remember my place between heaven and earth. Disentangle myself so I can just be free with all that is. And now here we are at this temple gate, outside the temple, ready to go in. But first, let's send our hands forward. Take a big breath in as you open wide, like you're gathering up anything that's left from behind you, and we'll bring it forward. And then leave it here. Just drop it, leaving it at the gate. We can bring our hands together to the third eye, and then send the hips back and the hands reach forward and down. If it's available to you, your hands can reach back between your legs. Bend your knees and inhale, sweep the arms forward and up. Hold your breath on the inhale, let the hands come down. And then exhale, hands forward. Inhale. Gather up everything. Exhale. If you can, bring the pinky edges of the hands and the forearms together as you reach out, and then let it go. Palms together. Inhale. Hips back, arms reach forward as you're exhaling. Hands reach back behind you, and then bend the knees. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Hold your inhale as the hands come down, and then out. In. Out. And breathe natural. And then in. And out. In. Holding, exhaling, or holding, and then exhaling. Hands come around. So now we're in the temple. Having left everything behind so that we can just be with what is, we can drink the elixir. So on the inhale, we'll slowly gather up the elixir to our mouths. Bring your middle finger and thumbs together. Drink the elixir. Palms up, look up, swallow, and then exhale. Again, slow inhalation. Middle finger and thumb together as you drink, swallow, release. One more time. In. Drink and hold. And out. standing here, relaxing, aligning hard parts of the bottom of the foot, connected to the earth, soft knees, breathing behind the heart, lifting through the back of the skull. Let's inhale our arms out and up, stepping the feet a little closer together towards the mirrors. And exhale. Just resting for a few moments, breathing naturally. And letting awareness settle deep in the belly. If you need, just visualizing energy dropping from the area of the eyes and the nose and the mouth down the body, through the chest and the heart area, down deep into the belly, into the lower dantian, breathing into the belly. The belly is known as the ocean of qi. So letting all of the different currents of thoughts and emotions run down like rivers that all flow into the ocean. And let's take a nice breath in together. As you exhale, soften your knees. And then we can inhale and open towards the windows. Hands can float out. And then exhale, hands down. And we'll close towards the windows. So inhale, stepping in, exhale. Knees soften. We'll inhale and open towards the mirrors. And relax here. And then close towards the mirrors, inhaling. Exhale. Soften the knees and we'll open again. Exhale. Inhale, the hands float up about shoulder level. And then exhale, the window hand comes underneath. We can shift our weight gently to this side. Upper hands about the level of the heart, lower hands about the level of the lower dantian. And then gently, the bottom hand, like you're throwing a frisbee, just bring the hand across, that upper hand drops. And so we're not going too far. This upper hand is facing us, maybe at a slight angle. The lower hand is facing down. And then this lower hand can gather some momentum and then pick up the ball. And then with the other side, the bottom hand tosses a frisbee and the upper hand just floats down. And then the lower hand gathers and brings us to the other side, and then it throws the frisbee. We can inhale and exhale. Take your time, no need to go too far, and then inhale and exhale. and out. One more time, in and out. Gather up on the inhale, and we'll pause, just holding our ball, breathing, weight on this side a little more than the other side, and let's turn our ball over. Take your time, turn it back. Just see how you can make this movement like a full body movement, like the movement of the arms being driven by the legs almost. Again, turning it over so the mirror hand is underneath. We're weighted on this side. Yeah. Slowly now, lower hand drops the ball and the upper hand comes to the waist as it's been doing. This hand is palm down. Now our lower hand will bring us across, and as it does, it's like we've got a rope between our two hands. So as the lower hand comes across, the upper hand comes in. And as we shift towards the window, this upper palm faces forward. And then our lower hand will gather up the ball. And as it lets go of the ball, it brings us towards the windows. Now we have a new lower hand facing the ground. This window hand facing the ground, and our lower hand pulls us across, brushing the knee, upper hand sending the chi. And then pick up the ball with the lower hand. Release the ball, follow the momentum out to the side. Lower hand brings us across. Brush knee, send chi. Lower hand picks up the ball. Drop the ball, follow the momentum. Lower hand pulling that upper hand in, and then send the chi. Pick up the ball, let it go. Lower hand pulls the upper hand, and we pick up the ball and drop and brush knee, send chi, gather, release. Lower hand, brush knee, send chi, gather, release. Brush knee, send chi. One more each side, picking up the ball, letting it go. This lower hand pulls the upper hand with it to send chi. Pick up the ball, drop the ball, lower hand pulling the upper hand, brushing the knee, upper hand sending chi. Here, this mirror hand is going to sweep up and will cross. The window hand is closest to us, so it's going to flow down and then just come right out to the side. And then take it like a chopping motion, send it forward. And now the mirror hand can flow out to the side, and as it comes forward, this other arm starts to pull back naturally, so we just let it flow and then send it forward. And picking up the pace a little bit, but not going too fast. And feeling the momentum of this arm as it swings out. It pulls us to one side and back to the center, and off to one side and back to the center. And if you'd like, as you move in one direction, like towards the windows, that mirror foot, the heel, can come up if it happens naturally. Yeah. And maybe you can even lift that opposite foot up and put it right back down. little knee bend, and then a standing on one foot, knee bend, standing on one foot. Whew. Now we're working out. We're going to keep it easy today. We've been doing a 9-movement form. Let's do the easy 5-movement form. So this mirror arm is going to sweep around in front. Cross. Lift with your elbows. Part the clouds. It doesn't matter which hand comes in front, so let's take the window hand down and across. And as it floats up, the other hand floats down. And we'll bring both hands across. And then switch. Both hands come across. And as you switch, lead with the upper elbow. Let it pull you across. Switch. Think about the shoulders are relaxed. The elbow is doing the work. Not the wrist, not the shoulder, but the upper elbow. Taking your time. As the elbow comes across, it pulls that lower hand with it. And see if you can imagine some resistance that you're pushing against. Like you're scooping up the plasma of the universe. One more time, coming across. Switch. Upper elbow pulls you to center and then pause. Lower hand can sweep up. And then let's open wide. Hips back, gather from the earth. Inhale. Let it go. Inhale, gather from the sky. Exhale, down and through. Inhale and open. Exhale. In. Out. In. Out. In. And out. Last time we come up and relax. Inhale. And as you exhale, let the hands float down. Settling into Wu-Ji posture, tree posture, horse stance, Tai Chi meditation. And your hands can be throat level, head level, chest level, belly level. Find what's workable. Your hands don't have to be too far forward. Sometimes bringing them a little closer can allow the shoulders and the neck muscles to just relax and release. And then from there, you might float out into a nice, easy place where you could stay for a while. And lift your toes off the ground. Spread the floor apart in between your feet. Let your knees be soft and moving away from each other. Lift through the back of your head to lengthen the back of your neck and breathe behind your heart. Allow the breath to flow out the outside of your arms. Like you're gently holding elevator doors apart with your elbows and your knees. Rooting down into the earth and pressing away from the center with the outside edges of your feet. Reaching up and back through the backside of your head. Breathing deeply. Three breaths, long, slow breaths here. Let's inhale and out. Slow breathing. and out. Last one, breath in. Exhale, relax your arms. Shift your weight towards the windows and let's close. Exhale. With your hands, guide your awareness down from the head, through the chest, into the ocean of the lower dantian. Hands over the belly. Feel your hands on your belly. Breathe underneath your hands. And then your hands can come around your waist, down the sides of the body, and just rest. Drift. And as you're ready, you can step out, maybe move your body in whatever spontaneous way feels good. Breathe. And let's rub our hands together. Feel how your hands feel. Maybe they feel warm, heavy, full of chi. And then massaging the face. Back and forth over the scalp. Down the back of the neck and around. Hands together, thumbs pressing into the chest as we drag them down over the chest and then the lower ribs onto the belly, around the waist to the lower back. Draw the hands out. Shake them out. We'll pat up one arm. And then down. Up the other arm. And down. And then around and down the backside of the body. Up the front. And again, around and down. Up the front. 3 sighs of relief with maybe some shaking and a blither, so big breath in. Feeling the space within us, around us. And just remembering that this is available to us anytime. Just taking a few moments to align the 3 treasures. And then we're there. Free medicine. Maybe it'll become really popular with healthcare rates going up. So we're good. We have healthcare inside of us, available to us. And who knows what will happen. So thank you so much for practicing. I hope that this winter solstice time is a deep, restorative, and restful period for everyone. And thank you. Thanks for being here and for practicing with me. And I don't think we'll have class the next 2 weeks. If anybody really wants to have class, send me an email. And maybe if enough people do, we will. We'll see. Otherwise, it'll be Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve the next 2 Wednesdays. So I hope that those are good times for everyone. Not too busy and full of good stuff. Right. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you all for being here and practicing. See you next time.